Erev Tov. Let's just make sure that we're all connected here. Oh, yeah, we must be connected because I just saw myself fixing the music stand. Shabbat Shalom, Gary and Linda, and Kathy Reynolds and Jack Saul. Okay, it's good to see that you're here. We have given Rabbi Yarkin the evening off, a well-deserved Erev Shabbat with her family from the get-go. So it's just you and me tonight. So I'm going to begin. I hope everyone has had a lovely week and you're ready for Shabbat, because I am. I want to begin with something on page 60. This is something that we do sometimes at Naranana to a different tune, but I'm going to sing the tune that I call the traditional tune, just because I was raised with it. I'm going to sing it without my guitar, and I know that Cindy Olch loves it when I sing this. So it's a beautiful poem by Chaim Nachman Bialik on page 60, and it talks about welcoming the Shabbat. And if you notice, a lot of the syllabic emphases are on what we would consider in modern spoken Hebrew to be the wrong syllables, but this was a way of pronunciation and what Bialik emphasized in his poetry. So this is Shabbat HaMalkah. We're on page 60. Please sing it along with me if you know it. Hachama merosh ha'ilanot nistalka, bo'u v'netzeh likrat Shabbat HaMalkah. Hine hi yoredet HaKedosha HaBerucha, ve'ima malachim tzva shalom u'menucha. Boi, boi, HaMalkah. Boi, boi, HaKala. Shalom aleichem, malachei HaShalom. The sun on the treetops no longer is seen. Come gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold, she descends, the holy, the blessed, with angels a cohort of peace and of rest. Come nigh, our Shabbat Queen. Come nigh, O dearest bride. Shalom aleichem, O you angels of peace. Kibalnu pnei Shabbat birnana utfilah. Habaita nashuva belev male gila. Sham aruch hashulchan hanerot ya'iru. Kol pinot habayit yizrachu yazhiru. Shabbat shalom umevorach. Shabbat shalom לשלום מלאכי השלום. Shabbat Shalom. I find that a beautiful way to welcome Shabbat. I hear in my head my parents and my sister harmonizing, and the next generation I hear my daughters harmonizing. So it's a special way for me to start Shabbat. We are going to turn now to pages 11 and 12 for the first of our Psalms for Kabbalat Shabbat, for Lechu Neranena. Lechu Neranena l'Adonai, Nariya l'Tzur Yishenu, Nekadma Fana B'Toda, Bizmirot Nariya Lo, Nekadma Fana B'Toda, Bizmirot Nariya Lo. El Gadol Adonai Umelech Gadol Al Kol Elohim Asher B'Yado Mechkerei Yoretz V'Toafot Harim Lo Asher B'Yado Mechkerei Yoretz V'Toafot Harim Lo Asher Lo Yavi Wasahu V'Yabeshet Yadav Yatsaru Oni Olav Yoro Shulevachem Arba'im Shana Akut B'Dor Va'omaram To'e Levavhem V'hem lo yadu derachai Asher nishbati be'api Im yevo'un el menuchati. Page 13. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz Shiru l'Adonai baruch hu shalom. Ya'alo sadai v'chol asher bo az yiranenu kol atzei ya'ar lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot ha'aretz yishpot tevel b'tzedek ve'anim b'emunato. I'm going to turn now to pages 17 and 18 for Psalm 98. Mizmor shiru l'Adonai shir chadash ki niflaot asa hoshia lo yemino uzro akocho lai Hoshia Adonai Yeshuato le'enei agoyim gilad tzidkato zachar chasto v'yemunato leveit Yisrael ra'u kol afsei aretz et Yeshuat Eloheinu hariu l'Adonai kol haaretz pitchu v'ranenu v'zameru zamru l'Adonai v'chinor v'kol zimra b'chatzotrot v'kol shofar hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai Okay, we are now going to turn to pages 23 through 25 for Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishmianu ela meyuchad Adonai echad Ushmo echad L'shemo tiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi Dodi Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelecha Ki hi mekor haberacha Merosh mikedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi Dodi Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech yirmelucha Kum mitzeim mitoch ha'apecha Rav lach shevet b'yemek habacha V'hu yachmol alayich chemla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Adat Ari me'afar kumi Livshi bigdei tifartecha mi Aliyat ben Yishai bet alachmi Korva al nafshi ge'ala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hit'oreri Ki va'orech umi'ori Uri shir daberi Kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lo tevoshi velo tikal minha Ma tishtochachi u'ma tehemi Bach yechesu aniyei yami Nivneta ir al tila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. V'hayu l'shisa shosayich v'rachaku kol Nevalayich yasis alayich Elohayich Kimsos chatan akala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Yamin u'smol tifrot zivi et Adon b'nei Shabbat nekabela. If you please rise if you can. Bo'i v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simecha u'v'tzola toch emunei am segula bo'i chala Good Shabbos. You may be seated if you'd like to be. We turn to the next page, 27 and 28, for the Psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor shir liyom Shabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. עלי עשור ולינה ולליל ומחנכי מחתן ירבי במחלמה גדול מסך אדוני גדול. Page 28 at the arrow. Tzadika tamari frach ke'erez badvanon yiske shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim vera'ananim yiyu lehagid ki ashar Adonai tzuri tzuri velo avrata bo. So I'm now going to take you to my dining room. Okay, if you get seasick or motion sickness, just close your eyes for a moment because we're going to walk through my living room. It's a living room. And I'm going to turn this. I did not put a bunch of books over here. So let's see. Let me move the challah out of the way. Let's see if this works. Let's see if I stand over here. Let me lift this. A big view of the challah. I can see that. Let me put, candles. And me. Hi. Candle lighting is not for a little bit yet, but we're always able to usher Shabbat in early. So we are going to do that right now. Good. And if you would like to make the bracha with me, you can do this, which is supposed to, some people say, help bring in the Shabbat queen, but it also sort of covers our eyes until we can actually look at the lit candles after the bracha is made. Okay. But I can't do that and play guitar at the same time, so you will do that for me. This. La 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya na 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 na, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la na 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 na, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner v'tzivanu lehadlik ner v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la. Shabbat shalom. Mwah. Good Shabbos. Send a kiss to everyone. I'm going to leave my candles here while I pick you up and bring you back with me to the living room. I light 3 candles, you might have seen. You see 3, because that's the custom, my mom's custom. We light 3 for Shabbat and 2 for Yom Tov. That's our custom. So come with me back to the main part of Shul in my house, which is the living room. Oh, here we go. Let me take off my guitar because I just want to give not a little Torah and not a little talk about the Parsha, but instead about and really just a couple words. This is not a fully developed drasha by any means. There's a whole lot more to say about this, but I want to talk about Yigdal for a moment. I mean, everybody knows Adon Olam, it seems. We end every service on Shabbat morning with Adon Olam. We're allowed to end a Shabbat, an Erev Shabbat service with Adon Olam. Nobody says you can't. There's a tradition to do Yigdal on Erev Shabbat. I mean, that's what I grew up with. We only sang Yigdal on Erev Shabbat. And what I'd like to remind you is, like Adon Olam, Yigdal is at the very, very beginning of the Siddur. It's said at the beginning of the morning service, and it is said at the close of an evening service, particularly on Shabbat. Also, if you remember, there's a very special melody for Yigdal that we do on the high holidays, for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Now, Yigdal, if you want to look with me on page 62 in our Siddur, that's where it is. And you have, as typical of this wonderful Siddur, a comment on the right-hand side. And I don't know if people have read it. I hope so. But if not, I'm going to take a moment and read it with you. This song is believed to be an adaptation by Daniel ben Yehuda of Rome, 14th century, of a longer poem by Emmanuel of Rome. It is a poetic summary of Maimonides' 13 Articles of Faith. So stop right there. Maimonides' 13 Articles of Faith. I'm not sure how many of us actually pay attention and read such things, but honestly and truly, if you look at the words of Yigdal, it sort of sums it up. It sums up, so for example, the first verse of Yigdal, glorify and praise the living God who exists but not in time, singular and unique, hidden and unbounded. What's the first of the 13 principles of faith that Maimonides has? belief in the existence of the Creator, who is perfect in every manner of existence and is the primary cause of all that exists, etc. And it goes through the whole thing. Don't worship God exclusively, no foreign or false gods, the belief in the immutability of the Torah, divine reward and retribution, ending with the resurrection of the dead. And if you look at the bottom, Meitim Yachaye El Barov Chazdo. The divine God with great mercy will give life to the dead. May God's name be praised forever. There are 13, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 couplets, double lines here, each one representing one of those. So the next paragraph here is interesting. Although it has become a popular hymn recited both before the morning blessings and at the conclusion of many services, there have always been objections to its use, since many have argued that Judaism cannot be reduced to 13 articles of faith. Some have altered the last line, objecting to the affirmation that the dead will one day be resurrected. We actually have resurrection of the dead, Mechayei Metim, in our Amida and in other places. So it's here as well as in other places in our tefillah, and it's upon us to figure out how we personally feel about that and how we interpret that, knowing and learning what the classical interpretations of Tchiyat HaMetim, resurrection of the dead, is. What's interesting to note also, and then there's a third paragraph which you can read on your own on page 62 on the bottom. What's interesting to note is that it is very big in the Sephardi community, where they add a 14th line at the end, which basically says, these are the 13 bases of the rule of Moses and the tenets of his law. And there are many, many tunes to Yigdal. Some have said there's even more tunes to Yigdal than Adon Olam. I'm not sure I actually believe that. But then again, that could mean originally composed tunes. But like Adon Olam, there are tunes that have been taken from one thing and put to Yigdal. So Yigdal is a very interesting and sort of an important poem, if you will, a piyut, which is a liturgical poem. A Jewish liturgical poem in Hebrew is called a piyut. And it's an important one to contemplate, and I'd like to do that more in the future a little bit. But the tune we're going to do tonight is it comes from Germany, Poland, Bohemia, and it may date, that melody that we're going to do tonight may date from the 17th century or perhaps earlier. And the great Chazan, Meir Leon, who also sang on the London Opera stage as Michael Leone, used that in London, and it was heard by a Methodist hymn writer, and he put that to English words, this tune for Yigdal that we're going to be using tonight. So it's fascinating to trace how tunes get around. So the bottom line is, that's why I like to sing Yigdal on Friday night, and I save Adon Olam for the morning. So with that having been said, I would like us all to turn to page 39a for the Baruch Hu. Please rise. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yivarach. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamidim lo chaleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ari baravi. We're on page 40, and we'll be following it with the Shema. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael chahavta Torah mitzvot ukimu mishpatim. Kim chayenu v'yirach yameinu, uvayem nege yomam v'layla, v'avatcha tasir mimenu li'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol miodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ve'shinantam levanecha ve'dibarta bam Beshivtecha beveitecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. We continue with the second and third paragraphs of the Shema on page 42. Vehaya im shamoa tishmu mitzvotai. Omer Adonai Moshe Mourner. Adonai Elohechem emet ve'emunah kol tov v'chaim aleinu ki Adonai Eloheinu ein zolad tov v'nach Yisrael ha'am pidyon. We're at the top of page 44. Umalchuto beratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Yisrael lecha'anu shira v'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh כי פוד אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. We're on page 45 for Hashkivenu, and I did something, whichever week Naranana was that last week? I'm trying to remember, I think so. I did something for Hashkivenu, and I liked it so much, I'm going to do it again. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom. Uvetzel kenafecha tastireh Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ushemor Tzeitenu Uvoenu Lechayim Uleshalom Me'ata ve'ad olam Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Uferos Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha Uferos Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha Baruch Ata Adonai Haporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Amo Yisrael Ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 46. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam, oti leolam. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbos la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, bayom hashvi'i. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbos la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah V'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon u'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael bagala bagala uvizman kariv ve'imeru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam le'omei omaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei dekudesha brichu li'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bi'olama v'yimeru amen. The Amidah for Erev Shabbat. goes from page 47 through page 52. Take this time to peruse the Siddur, to focus on the gift of Shabbat, and maybe even how you can make this Shabbat particularly meaningful and special. Oseh shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru Sheme Rabba Beyama Divra Chiruteviam Lichmachute B'Chayechono V'Mechono Chaydochal Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Vizman Kariv Imeru Amen Yehi Shme Rabba Mevorach Li'olam U'Li'omei Omaya Yitbarach Yitbarach, Vishtabach, Vitpar, Vitruman, Vinase, Vitadar, Vitala, Vitalal, Shmeda, Kudisha, Brichulie, Lamikol, Brachata, Vishirata, Tush Bechata, Nechamata, Damiran, Piamavi, Meru, Amen, Tit Kabel, Sloton, Uvalton, the Chol Yisrael, Kodam, Avuhandi, Vishmaya, Vimeru, Amen, Yehesh, Lamarabba, Min Shemaya, Vechaim, Alenu, Val, Kol Yisrael, Vimeru, Amen, Ohose, Shalom, Bimromav, Huya Ase Shalom. Aleinu vel kol Yisrael vel kol yoshvei tevel ve'yimeru. Amen. So, it's Kiddush time. You got that, Jack? It's Kiddush time. So, whether or not you have a Kiddush cup in your hand or on your phone or computer or wherever, and you are able to join me, want to join and rise for Kiddush, we're on page 55. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri agafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'yava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol abim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. That's some really good Manischewitz Concord grape. Okay, Jack, thanks for passing out the Kiddush. And Adam's Kiddush cup seems to be more like a martini glass or a champagne glass or whatever, but maybe a little more champagne, whatever. Okay, it is now time for us to count the Omer. So we turn to page 63. Now, people, it should be easy for you to know what day of the Omer we're going to be starting, because today was Lag BaOmer. So that's the 33rd day of the Omer. That's what today was. So you all know what we can count right now tonight as we enter the next day of the Omer. So we're going to do the bracha on page 63. I will do it first. You can do it after me. Mel, you can represent the congregation and do the bracha after me. And then the day that comes after Lag BaOmer will be found, the counting for that day, on page 68, towards the bottom of the page, and I think you can figure that out. I will count first. I will give you a moment to count it, and then we will have counted the Omer. So here we go with the bracha on 63. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer.
Okay. Hayom arba'a ushloshim yom shehem arba'a shavuot v'shisha yamim la'omer.
Hayom arba'a ushloshim yom shehem arba'a shavuot v'shisha yamim la'omer.
Today is the 34th day of the Omer, 4 weeks and 6 days of the Omer. We are getting there. So now we are going to turn back to page 56 for Aleinu. And since I assume you're standing for Kiddush and counting of the Omer, just stay that way. And here we go for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל, והארץ מתחת אין עוד. כן, נקווה לך אדוני אלוהינו מרבי דבר וזמן. וצעקנו במלכות שלך. כי המלכות שלך היא ולמען תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו echad. You may be seated. We are about to recite the Mourner's Kaddish, but first a couple of things before the recitation of the Kaddish. At this time, we must acknowledge the terrible tragedy in Meron, in the north part of Israel, where at least 45 people died and at least 150 were injured during their celebration of Lag BaOmer up there. And I read that over half of the people who died were already buried before Shabbat, as is the custom in Israel. We grieve with the family and friends of all people affected, and with all of Beit Yisrael, with all of the house of Israel, with all of Am Yisrael, at this terrible tragedy. And I would also like to acknowledge the people whose yortzites we are going to be observing this week. I'm going to read the names out loud of these individuals, starting with those whose yortzites we observe today, now on Shabbat, and moving forward through the end of this week. They include Ann Diamond, Murray Dreyer, Dorothy Gladstein, Zenaida Masler, Sam W. Moore, Mildred Blackstone, Diane Lieberman, Rivka Lurie, Edward Rosenblum, Ann Rothenberg, Mark Schub, Albert Joseph Wynn, Herbert Wolf, Harry Wohl, Julia Speyer, Rose Engel, Sherma Frank, Michael Lobel, Bessie Phillips, Samuel Picker, Edward Simon, Ray Berman, Anna Goodman, Teddy Nee, Morris Koretz, Walter J. Rubiner, Ida Schulman, Samuel Tapper, Scott Elias, Bertha Ginsburg, Harvey Lake, Raphael Lowe, Ethel Greenberg, Theodore Gusto, Martin Cahan, Ethel Mendelson, Phyllis Prell, Faye Rice, Yaakov Rosman, Gertrude Van Gelder, Sally Allender, Matthew Binder, Jack Chavot, Eva Epstein, Theodore Katz, Sherry McClintock, George Papkin, Irma Spiegel, Philip Turbov, and Anne Pauline Victor. And of course, for those of us who've been around the shul for a long time, a number of those names are familiar. And we send our love and hugs to everybody who is observing a yortzeit this week. And of course, also to those who are in mourning. And so those of you who are observing yortzeit or in mourning, please rise and turn to page 58, and Mel will lead you in the Mourner's Kaddish.
Yitgadal v'yikadash shmei rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalmad yivrach chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן.
יהי שמי רבא מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, we're about to do, guess what? Yigdal. He's a little taller than me, so I'll put this down a little bit. But first, of course, we have a couple of announcements. As many of you know, tomorrow, May 1st, May Day, we begin our in-person Shabbat morning services on those non-B'nai Mitzvah mornings. Also, you are probably well aware of the fact that you have to sign up online on our website. There's a cap of 30 at this point. I know that tomorrow is full, and in fact, the way this works is signups end really on, I believe it's Thursday morning, and then everybody who is supposed to be coming tomorrow should have filled out their health form online today. So it is, we ask for that health screening form to be filled out on Friday, the day before you come to shul. I would like to announce that if you don't know, that we will be doing the same thing for the 2 days of Shavuot, not the Tikkun Leil Shavuot, that will be by Zoom. But on Monday and Tuesday, the 17th and 18th of May, both days of Shavuot will be in person, also, of course, live streamed. Everything we're doing is being live streamed, never you fear. But that will be going up this coming week, the sign up page for that. So again, to remind you, anybody who is desirous of coming to the Shavuot service, you're welcome to come and sign up for one of the days, give people a chance, even if you've already signed up for a Shabbat in May. So you can sign up, you can essentially, maybe if you're lucky, come twice in May to shul in person. Okay, so that is about our in-person services starting tomorrow, 9:30 as usual. Next Friday night, which is May 7th, we are going to have a guest. It is May 7th, isn't it, on Friday night? Yes. We're going to have a guest. Vanya Green is going to be with us at shul that evening, and in the little Torah spot, she's going to give us a little singing. She's going to teach us about and teach us one of the Shabbat Zmirot. I believe it's Yaribon Olam. So that should be very, very enjoyable. So I urge you to come back for that. We have a book club. It started last week, but it doesn't matter. It's a book short story club, series of 3 sessions. And each one is about a different short story. So see, if you missed last week, doesn't matter. Come Thursday night online with Lisa Silverman and discuss this short story, which you can find online on our website. And also, finally, I would like to mention Sunday is a blood drive at Adat Ari El. The American Red Cross is coming and, sucking our blood. It's very important. There is a shortage. It seems like there always is, I know. But people like me haven't gone during the pandemic. And I'm going this Sunday because I'm vaccinated. My doctor and everybody tells me it's safe to do. So after Shabbat, sign up for an appointment. And I'm sure that they will take walk-ins because they have always taken walk-ins before. So I think I'm right in saying this. So please donate. It's a real mitzvah to do so. I think that's pretty much it, and certainly enough. So we're going to turn to page 62 and sing this old melody for Yigdal. Again, a tune that I grew up with for this wonderful piyut of Yigdal. Yigdal Elobim Chai ve'yishtabach nimtza v'yenei tel metziuto echad v'yen yachid כייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו. אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו. קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו. הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו. לא קם בישראל כמשה עוד נביא, ומביט את אמונתו. תורת אמת נתן לימואל, על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו. לא יכל לפעל ולא ימיר דתו, לעולמים לזולתו. צופה ויודע סתרנו, מביט בסוף דבר בקדמתו. אומר איש חסד כמפעלו, נותן רשע רע כרשעתו. ישלח לקץ ימין ושיחנו, לפדות נחכה קץ ישועתו. מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדיין שם תהילתו. מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדיין שם תהילתו. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Have a good, peaceful, relaxing, restful, wonderful Shabbat.
Shabbat shalom, shkochech.